Slakia, this thing like got cut off. But anyway, the golden age represents um Novus Order, the New World Order, right? It says freedom, right? But it's really the freedom of the transhumanism. You know, their dystopian future to take over your mind. It's the frequency of Saturn, the inversion of logos, right? So again, the opposite, because logos represents basically the Lord. You know, the Lord's crucifixion and his death, what he died for. We know that the Lord's crucifixion, him being crucified, was for the nation of Israel, right? We can prove that real quick. But the logos represents the inversion of that, which is what? What's the inversion? An upside down, which is, excuse me, an upside down cross, which is Satan. We got it right here. The logos. For the Most High so loved the world, right? That he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. It says, for the Most High Yahweh so loved the world. The world there easily means cosmos, which means what? As you see, a harmonious arrangement of what? People, right? Israelites, a constitution, right? Statutes on that's the Constitution is the Constitution of Israel. Psalms 147 and 19, right? His let me get it real quick. I'm rambling real. I'm going all over the place. His Constitution is the Psalms 147 and 19. Okay. He showed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his commandments. If not him, I'm butchering it. I gotta slow down because this, I'm just trying to go through this. So let's go to it real quick. Psalms 147 and 19. I'm just gonna read it. It says, "He showeth his word unto Jacob, right? His statutes and his judgments unto Israel." All right, that's the Constitution, and it says, "He hath not dealt so with any nation, and as far as his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord." So he's not dealing with any other nation. Period. That's the Constitution for a certain people. Order, right? A government, right? Mind control. He's only there starting with his people. The order starts with his people, right? He set it up first. That's the order. Number one, an ornament, a decoration. Who has the Lord decorated? His people, right? Look, all this explains that the world, circle of the earth. Sorry, not that, but that's Oikimeni, talking about a planet. All right. So we get the point. I don't want to go too much into it, right? But we proved it. And so basically, the cosmos, right, represents the nation of Israel, right? The organization, the cluster, the people who are gathered together, the constitution, the organization, the people he put in order is his people, the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, right? That he gave his only begotten Son, right? So that's the world he's talking about, and that first begotten Son is the first spirit ever created. This Proverbs 8th chapter, the Lord talks about him being with the Most High Father before the world began, before there's anything in the universe. He said, "I was in daily his delight," right? He was with the Lord before everything was, right? So he's the first begotten Spirit, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, which is starting with the elect, the first fruits, and everlasting life, right? So Bert and Ernie over there, or Dumb and Dumber, those guys out of the Sakari, whatever, those fake gangsters. Now they're saying there's no eternal life, but if you understand the scriptures, which the majority of the world doesn't accept the elect, that eternal life, death is the wages of sin. The wages of sin is death, right? And we sin through our bodies, right? We have a perfect body. Oh, how do we not? If we don't sin, that means you have a God body, right? It's extraterrestrial. It's a God, right? It's the Most High right? The ultimate promise is that he's going to bring his people on his level. And he started with Yahweh Shai. He's been there, but now it's confirmed, right? Revelation 5th chapter. And he shed his blood for his people. So we're already there, the whole nation. Now it's time for the Lord to go in order and get the elect, right? The first fruits and then the rest, the 1/3, the rest, and then you 2/3, you're going to come back after a prepared kingdom for you. That's after 1,000 years. But we're going to be in imperfect bodies, which means everlasting life. No sin. What's perfect is making a perfect 10. So not breaking any laws. So we don't break any laws. That's everlasting life. So that's what that means there. So let's go. All right. So we got logos, right? So logos. Where were we? I forget where, but I think we're here. Logos meaning. Oh, okay. What is the simple definition of logos? Where are we here? I got thrown off a little bit. Let me see real quick. All right. So anyway, logos. I had some up where I was explaining what it was. Hold up. Okay, so we're here, right? Golden Age is the frequency of Saturn, the inversion of logos. So we prove what the logos is, but the inversion is the opposite, which basically is satanic, Satanism, upside down cross, right? So that's what that is. All right. Satanism, that's the golden age. The inversion of logos. The frequency of Saturn, because the thing about Saturn, I believe we're going to go into that, is it has no light. It's a cold planet. It's black most of the time, and other things, right? So and it's the sixth planet from the in the solar system, okay, and etc. It's like 3 6 is 6. Anyway, Epstein files. Now this is crazy right here. This is crazy, man. When I read that, but look at that right here. The Epstein files equals memory warfare. This is when it hit me like, damn, this is like, when I saw the Mahamiga, I was thinking, damn, that's witchcraft. That sounds like witch language. But then the Epstein's files really hit me more because as it reads, it says that what is the Epstein files news and frenzy right now going on in the media in the world? And especially in America, what is that used for? It equals memory warfare. Gaslight the crimes, dissolve the outrage. I was like, wow. So they gaslighting the crimes. Oh, this is disgusting, perverted. They're trafficking children, trafficking women, homosexuality, trafficking, and sex with all this dirty sex SNL stuff coming out. You know what I mean? And being set up and selling women. You already know pictures with celebrities with Epstein files. So, they're gaslighting it there and saying how wrong it is, la, right? But then it says dissolve the outrage. So, how's that being? That just happened recently, man, with Trump saying, look, forget about it. You guys still talk about the Epstein's files, get over it. You know what I mean? That's dissolving the outrage. It being prolonged in the courts, trying to dissolve the outrage. But then it's a memory warfare because it goes back, this goes back to the 80s, the 90s, and they're showing old pictures. So, that's when I was like, damn, this is a ultimate psyop from Satan, man. This ain't no regular kind of psychological, it's this is what these devils study, and everything you people think, even how they control where your mind goes. They're making you think about the past. Around these times when these bring out these old pictures with these old celebrities, and it go, you go back into your memory. So all these things with Puffy, that's a psyop. All these people. It's a lot, man. But anyway, you can see right there if you read it. So we continue. It says. The beast grid cloaks itself in light, right? But the beneath lies a biometric change in cognitive subjugation. So the beast grid cloaks itself in light. So again, the beast system. So because I think the question was posed, well, excuse me, that Chat GBT was asked about the beast, or is revealing the beast system, right? Which goes into the mark of the beast, the 666, right? That's their sign. It's in your EPS code. It's in the codes of the programs of your computers. It's in your advertisements. It's in your society, right? 6 feet, stay 6 feet away, right? It's integrated in your life, in your politics, in your movies, in your laws, right? Everywhere. So that's the mark of the man, man. Because who's putting this in your societies, in your movies, it's a man. And ultimately, when you buy something, it goes back to Universal Product Code, which goes a database in the supercomputer in London. All right. So again, when you scan a product, all that is kept in a computer, stored in the computer in a database. Okay, and anyway, the biscuit cloaks itself in light, but beneath lies a biometric change in cognitive subjugation. The light represents like truth. You know what I mean? This is a great thing for society. You could have maids, you could have assistant living in your home. Oh, look what this robot can do. Look what it could do for the air and atmosphere, and it can remember help you write papers and plan out your speeches for your presentations and your lay out your business networks, and all this stuff is great for. But beneath lies a biometric change in cognitive subjugation. So biometric change basically means your body measurement, body heat, right? So body heat is going to be measured by a biometric device, and biometric devices are out there. They're not in a lot of these jobs, where if you got to clock in the work, you got to put in your thumb to be scanned. That's a biometric system, biometric chains, because you got to use it to leave work and to come in, which represents slavery anyway. Chains represent slavery. Coming into a gated community, you're gonna have to biometric chains, get in your bank. So the ultimate biometric chain is what? That's chains of slavery is the RFI. You already know. CHIP. All this proves that the cognitive subjugation. We already know it's related to your mind control, and and you're already under that cognitive subjugation anyway. Through the psyops, but the psyops is going to be in your head now. The Kingdom of Computers, Kingdom of Status update. Jeff Berwick status. I don't know what that is. So brothers, whoever want to go into that. I'm not sure. Exposing esoteric infrastructure behind political distraction. That's another major one. That's another major one right there, man. That stood out, right? Which I know about. So it says exposing esoteric, which means secret society, secret infrastructure. Secret organizations, or good or bad. Expose the esoteric infrastructure, the shadow government, right, behind political distraction, right? So a lot of these, so look, you got political distraction with political news, the MAGA, the health, the foreign policy. That's the psyop. That's the political distraction, right? Anything else that goes on loose politically. Then you got like senators and all that fighting against each other. Then you got exposing esoteric infrastructure behind political distraction. So again, you have if I'm saying it right, that so a lot of your political warfare, part of that is that a lot of, how should I say, a lot of the political points, that anybody makes about political, like politics, whether it be, for the government or really against. So a lot of the stuff that are coming out against the government is being exposed, right, is by politicians, right? Yeah, let's say politicians, they expose things, or people in political government, they start exposing things. That's part of that exposing esoteric infrastructure. So they're set up to kind of tell on themselves to a certain extent. So you got people, yeah, man, you see, that's what's happening in the government, and that's what's happening over here, and yeah, because this senator said that, yeah, this happened here, and he brought out the truth, and he could have kind of brought out the truth on that, but guess what? He's following a script too. He's following a script too, and I remember that, knowing about this early, that one of the last stages of the New World Order coming into play, when I learned back in '08, was that they're going to reveal themselves. You know what I mean? They're going to reveal that it's a secret society. But so that means, like, when basically the Illuminati or whatever become a household name, that means they're the ones that made you know anyway. Because a lot of these political people in policy, a lot of these people in who are into politics and have a public view on TV, or political influence. I even say that political influence with social sites. You know what I mean? They are set up as well. A lot of them. Like that guy Redacted, right? With Chris, I think it's Chris something, or Redacted. He's set up. Okay, he came from CNN, right? A very popular, control news station, and he derived from that. And he supposedly, I left because they weren't bringing out the truth, and I'm really exposing stuff, But he set up because there's stuff we've talked about, we get clipped for, he don't. Anyway, so that's, people should know that, right? So again, Saturn, a Saturnian deception, acknowledged and countered. So even they're going to go to the extent of revealing their satanic organizations, Skull and Bones, and the big banking families behind their names, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, the Illuminati, whatever have you. All that is being revealed. You know what I mean? Even the worship of Saturn, Saturnarian. The Saturnarian deception acknowledged and encountered. So they're going to acknowledge it. You're going to see revelations about it, read about it, people, documentaries, and people talking about it, movies, whatever. But it's going to be countered by some truth, but mostly lies. That's part of their plan too. It says containment fractures, right? So they're looking to break down this world. They are looking to break down America, this world. So the whole world's going to be trying to take this right here, Novus Order coding, the AI, you already know, the digital currency. Excuse me, not the digital currency, RFID chip, right? The kingdom computers forward. Containment fractures, kingdom advances, the grid temples. So the kingdom advance is really talking about the New World Order. All right, the golden age of AI, the takeover of you people's minds by transhumanism, your world of machines. The kingdom of computers, the kingdom computes forward, right? The kingdom of computers. So let's go into some Saturn, because I want to focus on, it says, remember, golden age equals freedom. The golden age represents basically the freedom of AI, right? Mind expansion under AI grid. That's the freedom that they want. And it's the frequency of Saturn, the inversion of the Lord, Logos. So let's look at the frequency of Saturn. Okay, here so I had to put this here to block out my thing real quick. Oh, shit. Hold on. Okay, so continue. A lot of false stuff in the background too, So yeah, so I got here mind, body, and karma post, right? So this is about Saturn, right? We'll go right to it. It says, you might not know it, but the entire world has been worshiping Saturn, right? Oops, sorry, hold up. All right. So so we have, oh boy, man. Anyway, I give up. I'm trying to. All right. So again, we have the cult has never stopped. Its rites are still present this day. All right. So Saturn, dubbed the Lord of Rings, and I got this from a show I did on Saturn. Um, it's a show I did on Saturn about over a year and a half ago. All right, closer to almost 2 years ago. Really, basically 2 years. Um, and you can see here Saturn, nigga, bro. I was going into Chief E from telling everybody to dress all black. That was around this time here. But I got a bunch of these. Well, I was going into the Saturn. Okay, and if you check it out if you want. So basically, that's what I'm reading from, right? So we're gonna go through this quickly. So Saturn, dubbed the Lord of Rings. Check it out, like the movie. Remember, it had all the all-seeing eye there, just like the you know who, you know who you else uses the all-seeing eye. Okay, which is in the back of your dollar. Saturn, dubbed the Lord of Rings. All right, so your dollar shows the Lord of Rings. All right, is the reason why we exchange rings in weddings or put halos on the heads of a godly person. Right, I believe there's a halo in them with Lord of Rings too, the eye. Since ancient times, sagas gazed at the stars. Sages gazed at the stars, admiring their heavenly glow and attributing them godly powers based on their effect on humans. Saturn was regarded by all mankind as supreme god and ruler of kings. Occult researchers affirm that Saturn ruled the kingdom of Atlantis. La 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 la. We'll continue. Let's get some good stuff. Kronos or Saturn, Dionysus, Hyperion, Atlantis, Hercules were all connected with the great Saturnarian continent. They were kings that ruled over countries. Okay, let's keep going. You just skim here, you can just see like a lot of this right here, man. Egyptian and mythology, Isis considers Saturn's eldest daughter. I am Isis, queen of country. Right? I was instructed by Mercury. No one can destroy the laws which I have established. I am the eldest daughter of Saturn, most ancient of the gods. Now, remember, you have a group called ISIS, right? So-called terrorists. So all these were created by your, you know what? A Psyop, right? You see somatic, like we have here. Where is that video? Oh man, I lost. We gotta go back to it. Hold up. Okay, so remember we're looking at the frequency of Saturn, right? The golden age. We're going into the golden age, right? So, so you see here, right? And if you want, I'll put in the description, and you can read all of this yourself, right? And that's false, by the way. If you just caught that, that's false, right? David never had a 6-pointed star, so that's false. Apostles have done many shows on that. So you see this. So a lot of stuff here. All right, let me see what I could put out. Push breed. It says and it proves that this. Well, we read. The Greeks and Romans also worship Saturn as a cruel deity. Here's a brief summary of the mythology of Saturn in the Western world. And also, if you look at the conditions on planet Saturn, it's known as the most cruel planet, one of the most cruel planets of the solar system. I think the one, right? Let's see. We can read here real quick. Saturn is consequently the celestial body that is less exposed to the sun's divine light. Like I said earlier, one of the darkest planets, and which is the opposite of, right? What's the opposite of light? Knowledge. What's the opposite of light? Dark. Wickedness, and thus associated with the coldness of the principle of evil, right? Because evil is supposed to be cold, right? Cold-blooded, cold-hearted, not warm-hearted. Finally, the great god Pan, The horned deity represented Saturn in ancient paganism. This half man, half goat creature is considered the ancestor of modern depictions of Satan, right? Um, the great god Pan, the Pied Piper, right? So we gotta read that one. So they might take anyway. So you see all these examples of the Saturn block square, right? And a black cube, a six pointed, six sides, right? I believe. All right, so yeah, the black. I kind of said that wrong. Not six sides to a cube, obviously, but 6 points here, right? This the cube. This is what the cube represents, Saturn, because there's. Let's read, right? The black cube of Saturn. Where does that come from? You got black cube in Australia, Denmark. Oops, hold up, my bad. Just brought that down. Denmark, Manhattan, right? You get the point. Global occult worship. Saturn, so active in the cosmic changes, was regarded by all mankind as supreme god. Seneca says that the epigenes were studied astronomy among the Chaldeans, right? It does not the Most High call this the Chaldeans, America, right? Which is a warlocks, man. Okay, estimates that the planet Saturn exerts the greatest influence upon all the movement of celestial bodies. That's what they believe. On becoming a nova, its ejected filaments in all directions in other solar systems become illuminated as if by 100 suns. It's subsided rather quickly and retreated into far regions. It says Saturday is named after Saturn, the sixth planet. So Saturday is the sixth day, right? You have the sixth planet. It is the sixth day of the week. It has six sides and a polygon on its north pole. Our polygon is six sides. Boom, boom. You see there. So certain action points, it makes a square. Right? You can make a square out of that. Boom, 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 boom. Right? So that's what that is. It's hidden. It's a hidden six-pointed polygon square. All right. So, and that's why it's tilted like that, because it's supposed to represent looking out those 6 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Am I doing it right? Yeah, because if you tilt a square on its side at an angle, right, it has six sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, not count the inside. And also, yeah, so you do that outside is six sides. Then inside is a logos. That's what it is. The logos is right there. An upside down cross represents Satan. So you can see the Baphomet within that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At six sides. Inside you can see the face of Baphomet or the horns. Horn there. God of Pan. Boom. Right there. And that's it, logos, the sign of the opposite of the Lord. All right, upside down cross, opposite of the crucifixion. Right, it is represented by a hexagon cube, six-sided star. So, boom, boom, boom. You get it? On whatever right now, but I'm gonna leave this if you want to read it. Plenty here. Okay. Okay, so. I'm going to leave this in the description. You can see what it is. And I'll also leave this in here too. I won't read it out loud, but you get it. You know what I mean? So I'll leave this in the description too. Right? And you get get truly woken to the spirit of the Holy Spirit, spirit of understanding. I'll leave this in here too, right? The black robes, the judges wear, that goes back to the worship of Saturn. All right? And even wearing all black. Now, there's no wrong with wearing black, but and I never believed in how should I say I think wearing all black from head to toe is one thing, and I'm talking about like I've worn black from head to toe, but I have colors in my shirt or colors in my pants, color in my sneakers or something. But you got people out there who just wear all black from head to toe, and that's a vibration. Nothing wrong wearing black pants and different color shirts, black jacket with different color. You're always gonna have black on somehow. But black from head to toe with no other color, that's pretty demonic, and that's what a lot of these organizations do. Start with these judges, etc. And you already know the small hats. You see what they wear. That's the worship of Saturn. All right, so I have a scripture here I want to just read. Slack. So it says, Isaiah 47:13, it says, Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from the things that shall come upon thee. Behold, they shall be as stubble, the fire shall burn them, the nuclear fire, and the fire from the chariots of the Lord. It says, They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before it. Thus shall they be unto thee with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants, right? The people they've done bribery with, or extortion. All right. And trade and business with merchants from thy youth. They shall wander every one to his quarter, none shall save thee. So basically nothing's gonna help these matter of fact, let me start from here. These ruling elites, all right, these Satanists, these Saturn worshippers, these idol worshippers, all right, which is the wicked, the nation of Edom, the wicked. Stand now with thine enchantments, right, your witchcrafts and your warlocks, right, our Chaldeans, and in the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, if so be thou shalt be able to profit. If so be thou shalt be able to profit. If so be thou mayest prevail. Again, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Matter of fact, let's read this in the LNLT. Yeah, because there are a lot of councils, a lot of organizations, and they're wearied through these organizations, the money they're spending, the ADL and the WF and the MIF, International Monetary Fund, the MIF. There's all these organizations and Psyops and movements, and they're wearied, the brainwashing, okay? Palantir, the trade, all this stuff to make this stuff go through. See what this says. It says, let's start from here. Now use your magical charms. Use the spells you have worked out all these years. Maybe they will do some good, like AI, all right? Maybe they can make someone afraid of you. All the advice you receive has made you tired. Where are all your astrologers? Those stargazers are people who look into the celestial sky. NASA's made it for that. All right, you have supercomputers, quantum computing. Well, that's something else. Etc. Astrologers, your stargazers, who make predictions, right, each month. Even your Project Looking Glass. Let them stand up and save you from what the future holds, right? But so that was the point there. And it's funny, when you scroll out to the top in the first verse, it refers to the Chaldeans, right? It says, Come down, O virgin daughter of Babylon, and sit in the dust, right? The virgin daughter of Babylon is that virgin represents not being touched, right? Let's say Iron Lama. Let's look at that. What that Greek? Well, not Iron Lama. Pargamos. Let's see. Nope, I'm wrong. Hold on. Okay, Bathwala. which means a virgin, maiden. See. Okay, here we go. It's basically Bathwala, which means a virgin, pure, unspotted. Right? So basically, not touched. A chaste woman. Right? Not being touched. So it says, "Come down and sit in the dust." Right? Oh, the nation, a virgin of Babylon, or the that sit on the ground. There is no throne or daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. So again, when a woman or a young woman or a young virgin is not touched, she's delicate. She's tender, right? But so this refers to a O virgin of daughter of Babylon, right? Babylon is a nation. Babylon got destroyed, right? So what is this referring to then? It's talking about the daughter of Babylon, or virgin daughter of Babylon, right? And what did Babylon consist of? Sit on the ground. That represents the confusion, a low point, right? The ground is low, right? There is no throne, all right, because a throne is very high off the ground, right? So basically, it's saying the Lord is saying, get your ass to where you are. Come down and sit in the dust, because that's where you belong, Babylon. Of the Chaldeans, right? There is no throne, daughter of the Chaldeans. So we looked up before, the Chaldeans represents the stargazers, the witches, the warlocks, the soothsayers of, again, what's bringing out all this stuff here, like you see in here, all right? The Saturn grid confirmed by ChatGPT, like all this stuff bringing up the Maha Miga, that's that witchcraft, right? That's that new order witchcraft. Mind a grid expansion, the AI grid, the golden age, which is the frequency, the vibration of Saturn. Okay, so that's what this all is. All right, it's the go back, right? That's the Chaldeans doing this to you. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. So just wanted to point out again that, see how this chapter deals with the lament of Babylon, which is America. They're gonna cry, and I pretty much think that's all I want to share. Just to go into the Saturn, information, and just show you that there was a lot that I saw here from Apostar's show, just from this one thing. That to decode it. And, what I saw him play was a major Psyop I had. And what really made me think was it when I read, actually, out of all things, the Epstein files thing. Because I said, wow, that is memory warfare by them. Again, like I said before, making you go back in the past, and they're flashing old pictures of Trump or certain celebrities you like, with this guy. So you're going back. So that's memory warfare. So, I mean, for them to go make you think of things in the past for whatever reason, well, we know a reason, but even more, that's when I really had in my mind, this is the true spirit of Satan, and that's been going on, and gaslighting crimes. And of course, another big point was this, because I remember learning about this earlier, exposing esoteric infrastructure behind political distractions. So a lot of these political, like Candace Owens, she's set up probably, of course. Either she's in the know, knowing she's doing it, or she's just allowed to have free range, and they're allowing her to do it. And she talks too much, they'll get rid of her. But that's a form of, and she's part of the political she makes political talking points, and she's exposing a lot of things, while doing it. So again, that's what I just wanted to show. You know what I mean? And you know, Satan is real, man. All right, and we just proved it here. You people, man, are under the spirit of Satan. He's a prince of the power of the air, like the scripture's talking about. You know what I mean? But it's the Most High overall who's controlling all this. Anyway, because even the devils believe and tremble, like it says in the book of James. Yeah. So what does it mean? If there's a devil, then there is a God. All right, and his name is Yahweh. His name is Yahweh Shai. And he's coming back, man, to save his people and the elect. All right. And this again, and what's the major sign? And he's basically, let me see if I get a scripture. Let me see, Revelation 20. Revelation 20 and 4, it says, "And I saw the thrones of them, I saw the souls of them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushai and the word of the Most High, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with the Lord 1,000 years," which means basically forever. All right, that means that represents that salvation, verse 4. All right, but the point is and I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of the Lord. So the ones having the witness, which goes back to the knowledge, the understanding of the Lord, Yahweh Shai, they're going to be, some will be beheaded, right, for not taking the chip. And there's laws in place for that to happen to you already. All right, that they're going to use a guillotine. All right, that's already written in certain executive orders. That's what they're probably using over there in Guantanamo Bay and all these other Alcatraz and all that stuff. Okay. All right. So it's here, man. What else? See, neither in which had not worshipped the beast, right? The chip, neither his image, right, which represents the system with the belief, the Baphomet, the god of Pan, right? The god of Pan, neither had received his mark, which is Satan. Pan is Satan. Neither had received his mark, right? You already know, FRD chip upon their foreheads. So we get it, man. And then I just wanted to show that. So with that, hope you're edified. Like I said, this is what I saw in this Paul show. And it's very revealing, very good show through the spirit. And this little freeze frame was very revealing. Very revealing. So, Shalom. Kal halal, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yoshai Bahashim, Rahwakwada Shalom. This is a major satanic psyop.